My friends, welcome to my new and improved tutorial on player combat in Fantasy Grounds Unity. One quick note, I've split this up from my old video. The reason I created this new video is that I wanted to speed things up. I no longer cover game mechanics. I just give you a step-by-step of how to do all of the player stuff. So I encourage you to watch the game mechanics video. Link is in the description or pop up at the end of this video. Alright, let's get to it. So when the Dungeon Master shares the map with you, it'll probably pop up a little bit out of whack. To move the window around, click anywhere on the window, drag it. You want to see the corner in the top left, then hold down Control, click again on the window, and drag your mouse to change the size of the window. Once you can see the arrow in the top right corner in the box, click that to lock it down onto the back of the map. Then for map controls, to zoom in, you scroll up. To zoom out, you scroll down. And then to pan across the map, you hold down on the scroll button and move your mouse. I recommend that you use the combat tracker. To access it, go to the cross swords button in the top right of the screen. The combat tracker can be resized, and I recommend that you place it over the top half of your chat window. So one tool that comes in handy in a lot of different situations is the quick measurement. To use it, hold down right click, hold down left click, drag your mouse, and then once you have the measurement where you want it, let go. Then if you decide that you want to change it up, you can just grab it at either end. One end is the base, the other end is where it's pointing. And then to get rid of it, you just hold down right click, hold down left click again, and it disappears. To move your character, just grab her or him, drag them in any direction that you want them to go in. You will notice that it keeps track of what distance you're moving. If you want them to go in a different direction, just drag them in that direction as well. And then on the Dungeon Master side, they will just approve your movement and you will move. Or if you prefer to move with the directional keys, you can do that as well. To bring up your character sheet, you can either double-click your portrait or double-click your token. To roll for initiative, in fact, anywhere that you see these die, you can just grab those, drag them over into the window, give them the roll. And for all of these rolls, you will see that it will take the statistics from your character sheet and plug them in. Now that we've rolled for initiative, we are on the combat tracker. By the way, the combat tracker keeps track of the names of you, your party, all of the enemies. It keeps track of the initiative order, keeps track of all of the hit points, says whether or not they are friend, foe, or neutral, and keeps track of all of the effects that anyone is under. So for targeting, you want to make sure that your person is selected. To do that, left click and you'll see the ring around them. Then hold down and Control and left click any enemies that you want to target. To untarget, just hold down Control and left click again, and you can target as many enemies as you want. There are also several useful buttons up here. So the Clear Targets button, the Target Enemy Units button, the Target Friendly Units button, and Target Mode. So I'll clear first. Target Mode lets you draw a selection box and you target all of those. And I'll point out also that in the combat tracker it says who you are currently targeting. Alright, so now you want to attack your enemy. Go to the Actions tab of your character sheet. And here you have first we'll go over a basic weapons attack. So you can drag and drop or double click that. And you will see that it says the total and says whether or not it hits. Then you can drag and drop the damage. And you'll see that the damage is applied and that it also keeps track of that health bar and any wounds that have been suffered in the combat tracker. Alright, so now let's cast some spells. So we're going to click the portrait of the cleric to start playing as him. You can see the color of the dice have changed. Then we'll double click the token to bring up the character sheet. We'll go to the Actions tab. Here you can see that the cleric has spells. We'll change the mode to Preparation. This is where you can choose which spells are prepared. Those are the spells that will show up in the Combat tab. I also recommend that you keep the keep it set to actions so that you can use these nifty little buttons. So let's check out the spell Hold Person. We can hover over the buttons to see what effects they'll have, or we can click this link to see the full description of the spell. So we know we want to cast it. We will target our enemy, make them roll the wisdom saving throw, and then you click this button to apply the effect. And you will now see the icon saying that the effect has been applied. It also shows up in the combat tracker. Okay, let's demonstrate some AoE. So now we will select the wizard. You can see our dice are now pink. Double click her to bring up her character sheet. Go to actions, find fireball. Again, we can check out the description. This is where we'll use the pointers tool. It's not necessary, it's just something that's helpful. So you right click, go to pointers, choose which shape you're going to draw, choose the starting point, and then drag outwards with left click. If you want to change the radius after you've set it down, you just grab the total size indicator and just drag that. You can also change the base by clicking that central point and repositioning it. Then once we know who we're targeting, we can remove the pointers. Now we'll use the selection mode, the target mode, to target everything. We'll make all of them roll dexterity saves by clicking this button. And now we will apply the right amount of damage to all of them because Fantasy Grounds will keep track of who succeeded and who failed. And the damage is applied to all of them, taking saves into account. So sometimes you can have a druid that changes shape, or you might have a character that has some minions. If you're going to control an NPC, the Dungeon Master can actually create one for you by dragging an NPC into the combat tracker, changing their alignment to friendly, and then dropping it on the map. Then you as the player can double click that NPC to open up their NPC character sheet. You can act with this NPC just as you would with the other characters, but their sheet is a little bit different to use. Then over on the character sheet, you can roll your checks or saves with these buttons. If the NPC has proficiency in any skills, you can hover over the highlighted text of the skills, double click to roll those, just as you would with attacks or special abilities. You just hold your mouse over the highlighted text and double click or drag and drop to make that roll. And same with damage. And same with effects. And then a couple of quick last notes. If you have an attack that you use very often, you can drag it over to your Quickbar, and then even without the character sheet open, you can just make those rolls at any time. Also, I just want to highlight the skills tab since sometimes you do use it in combat. You just drag and drop those over. And the last thing that I wanted to show off was the dice tower. So for this, you can make any roll into the dice tower and the results will be hidden. Only the Dungeon Master will know. So for example, if you're talking to an NPC, you will not know if that PC is telling the truth and wants to help you, or is lying to you and is about to lead you into an ambush. And then the last thing that I want to bring up is that you can fully customize your character sheets. You can create items within your inventory to create new weapons, or sort of customize those with macros. To customize things, you can click on this magnifying glass to bring up the description and do your editing there. And there's also the ability to create and edit spells, powers, or other macros of your choice. To do so, you just go into the spells portion, right click, choose add action, choose what type of action, and then it gets a little bit, it's different depending on what you do, and that could be the subject of a whole different video. So with that, I will leave it there. I hope this has been helpful. About now, there should be some tiles popping up with links to my full playlist of Fantasy Grounds videos. Have a good one, folks.